What was the first magnet that ever existed? Because if something like wood has no chance of being magnetized, but something like iron is able to be magnetized, what was the first thing that was actually magnetized? And why does something become a permanent magnet, but something is just magnetic for a while and then it just stops? Because if you already understand magnetism, which you can watch my explanation on in this video right over here, what it basically is it's just a moving charge. And what it creates in a material is the electron. So if we go back in time, it's really easy to find the first examples of magnets because we just need a lot of mass moving with charge. And everything that happened at the beginning of the universe was actually just mass with a lot of charge that was moving. So basically when things were getting created and there were these gas clouds that were actually just moving mass of charge, it all was just moving magnets. But why does then our planet have its own poles, the south and north? Well, because when we were getting created by these masses with charge that were moving, it had certain magnetic features. And this still remains to this day in the core of our planet. Only today it's really just covered with this protective layer that we are then sitting on. But how does then something magnetic get created on our Earth or our surroundings and environment around us, right? Because there aren't any big masses around us that would be moving with charge all day long. And then when everything settled after the creation of our planet, everything on the top was actually the things that weren't magnetized. So we were left here with everything not being magnetized. But what was then the first thing that created magnets like these ones that we now use in our daily lives? Because when you have the unmagnetized materials, they have all of the electron pairs actually filled. So no matter what happens or which direction the other electron points in, they will always try to cancel each other out. So that's why an unmagnetized material actually remains unmagnetized. And to create a permanent magnet, it would mean that all of the electrons would have to be pointing in the same direction, right? For that to happen, there actually needs to be quite a lot of things coming together. One of these things is an external magnetic force, because we need the electrons to point somewhere, and all of them in the same direction. Second, we need to have them kind of free so that they would be actually able to move in the direction that we will point them in. And the third is to then actually make them remain in that direction. And this all happens super fast, and why it happens is actually because of lightnings. Because when you hit the unmagnetized material with lightning, we all know that it will heat up very fast, and this heat will transfer to the electrons and it will give them kinetic energy. So all of the electrons will start vibrating like crazy. And so this movement actually frees them up from the state that they were in. But this lightning doesn't carry just heat to the material. It even carries a charge. And because this all happens super fast, the effect that then makes it cool down the material actually makes the electron stay in the state that they were in. And that's how a magnet is created. I hope you enjoyed this explanation. Innovitech, until next time.